Shryock. The virtual tournament went down the other day. I don't know if you guys watched it. We're going to talk to Hunter Shryock about the virtual tournament that Anglr, Abu Garcia, and Bass got together and put on. It's a pretty exciting deal. Hunter's got a good video up on his YouTube channel if you want to go over and check it out. Pretty cool deal. But yeah, we're going to talk about the virtual tournament. We're going to talk about several things with Hunter Shryock. We're going to have a little call in from a fan. We're going to have a little live guest situation go down on the show. So we're going to have some face-to-face time with Hunter Shryock. Going to do the Mercury Moment deal. We're going to do some talking about some Lowrance Graphs and how Shryock uses them to target the big small jaws up there. We're going to go back through. We're going to have a challenge this week with Hunter Shryock, just like we've done with some of our recent guests. We're going to do some tips and tricks, some little tips and tricks. Yeah, so we're going to talk a lot about the app Night Hunters. The first guest we've had is really up to speed on the app over here at Anglr, and the virtual rod that Abu Garcia paired up with Anglr to produce that has the built-in bullseye out there in the butt of it. So we need you guys to help us out. This is episode 6. This is the last episode unless we have more episodes. And I know that's an open-ended thing to say, but we started this off with 6 episodes in mind. We're going to see how it went. And we've gone, I think, from 1,800 views on the first episode 5-6 weeks ago now to, I think, we topped 20,000 with the last episode with Hank Cherry. So we're really looking at a lot of good growth. We want to keep doing this. So you guys help us out. Y'all have been doing great so far. Share, start a watch party on Facebook, hang out with your buddies and watch us talk fishing. We're all wishing we could go fishing right now. So that's the idea behind the show. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little wishing we were fishing night. We're going to talk about it and have a good time. Anybody want to do a Q&A with Hunter Shryock? Ask him your questions. Just come over here on the comment section, post away, and we'll be picking up questions throughout the episode. Derek Horner's kind of keeping an eye on that for us. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little fun. And without further ado, the man of the hour. There's going to be a little bit more to do. There's always a little to do because there's like a 3-second delay before you actually go live. Hunter Shryock, how are you there, bud? And I muted you. But you're muted. Hey, bud.
Doing good. Doing good. Hey, first off, we're going to start the show. And I see this picture behind you.
It's very conveniently placed to where
it's very conveniently placed right like, and the lights there, the light's more lit on the photo than what it is you.
Yeah, that's what my main focus. That's the focal point. Not many people put the focal point of the room in the corner of the room. Yeah, that's definitely what I want everybody's eyes drawn to. So maybe I should tilt the camera up a little bit. You can't quite sit there. We go.
That's perfect.
I appreciate you pointing that out. No, so yeah, I caught a big bag once, but you catch big bags on a regular basis.
Hey, I was there, and I think I caught like 8 pounds on that day. So.
That was pretty brutal on me. So it changes quickly out there on the big pond. You got a big pond up there around you where stuff changes pretty quick too, huh?
Yeah. We had the virtual tournament, and we had some high hopes going into, not really high hopes. It's Lake Erie in the springtime. You know, it's like you're going to go up there and catch 20, 25 pounds with your eyes closed most of the time. But yeah, we had some conditions change, and a northeast wind is something you don't want to mess with on Erie. And that's the day that we went fishing the virtual tournaments.
Logging on, and you could hear 40-mile-per-hour winds. It sounded like across the microphone at one point. I was like, wow, there. And your wife's right there in the middle of it with you, just such a trooper. Looked absolutely miserable. Sounded like she was having a great time.
She was like wind burnt. We're both sunburnt, wind burnt, and we're on the backside of a point out of the wind, but we were still getting hit by the wind. So, you know, it's bad when the walleye charters and the boats start to go out. And once they reach the end of the point, like where the waves actually coming down, they decide to fish right inside of that line of waves. And I'm like, yeah, we're not going to go out there.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Nope.
So yeah, that was a cool deal, virtual tournament. So let's talk a little bit about that. What basically, it's hard to have a traditional style tournament. Obviously, you're Elite Series angler, you know better than anybody. It's hard to have a traditional tournament right now. You see a lot of this 1v1 stuff on YouTube and all, but we want to take it to the next level here at Anglr and Abu with the virtual rod. And y'all went out and fished. You and Thomas Allen from Bass went out and fished a little head-to-head. And we got some pretty cool stuff. I'm going to try to pull it up on the screen here. We've got the replay at the trip while we're talking about it. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get it situated to where you can see it really well. I may have to kick myself out of the screen. But talk us through a little bit about what you did and how you caught them.
Okay, so this is the honest to goodness truth. We was riding up. Me and my wife were rolling up there that morning, and you can never tell with the wind on Lake Erie. You literally plan a trip before you go, and all this stuff where I'm fishing at, I had never fished before. It was all because this is out of the northeast wind, and to quickly go catch fish on Lake Erie this time of the year, you can go basically hit all these I don't know, you want to call them wing dams or rock jetties. They're just the mouths of all those harbors and stuff. And I didn't know if I was going to catch anything or not, but more than likely I figured I could catch fish. I didn't know if I was going to be able to beat Thomas being on his golf course pond that he was fishing, but as you can see, I'm just bouncing the mouth of all those jetties, and it's not a secret, it's just there's natural current that come in and out of those places, and fish will get stacked up on them really good. They'll be on one side or the other, it seems like, and you'll find one of them that'll just have a bunch of fish, and then you'll run a couple of them that won't have any. But yeah, it's so neat to be able to watch this. That's where I caught that 4-pounder at. Decided, hey, I might as well. As a 4.5, I believe. I slide up in there. I think, yep, there I caught the little largemouth. There's some more largemouth in there, and it's so neat to be able to go back and watch this, because I forget. It was like a week ago, and I already forget what I did and where I went. Kind of know where it kind of went down at, but throwing a jerk bait, Berkeley cutter 110 plus. The water was a little murky, but I could go around, and the water was still really cold though. It should, no, I don't think I put the water temperature in, but I 50s, and I probably could have cranked all that stuff with a a flat-sided crankbait. Then I go to that next point, I catch another one. The really big thing that intrigued me is that I didn't catch a bunch off of one of them, which again, usually this time of the year, you can catch a lot off of one of those rock jetties. But northeast wind, anytime on any body of water, you're getting a northeast wind, you're not really, it's not the best conditions. And then I catch that good one there, that smallie, and ended up losing 2 more right here. I believe I marked those as well. And that was a little flurry on that one spot that I should have caught those. But usually you could pull up and catch about, anywhere from 5 to 10 of them really, really quick. They're really active when they're pushed up against those rocks. But how neat is it to go back and look at all this? I should have posted that. That's really cool though.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
Northeast wind, 17 miles an hour, had it right there. Yeah, that was good stuff. And I mean, to be able to look back on that, and that was one thing that I looked at or was talking about while we were fishing, especially when I started fishing, to be able to have that type of technology to go back on what I did or where I went that time of the year, because there's so much information that you're trying to learn, you're trying to digest all that stuff. And I even said in the video, I had to look back at when I'd fished Erie in the springtime, because we're always in the South, right? We're always, Texas or wherever this time of the year. We're never here at home getting to fish. So I had to look back at my social media. When's the last time I was fishing Lake Erie? And then look at the date and be like, oh yeah, I caught them off of this stuff. And that's what I was going to try to go, emulate when I was back up there again. And obviously the wind didn't allow us to go after the real big ones, but we still had fun doing it. But to be able to have that technology to look back and know exactly boom, 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 and be done with it, not guessing, not, I think it was like this, and be totally different.
Yeah, you're talking about something too inside the Anglr app that's pretty cool is we actually have a backtrack capability where you can go in and pull up all the photos that you have in your phone, their geo stamp location deal. I don't really know a lot about data and technology, but I do know that you can pull up your photos and hit a button, and then like I mean, 30 seconds. It can go through 600-700 photos and drop waypoints all inside the app for you.
That's
And
right.
then you can go back, just like you're talking about, and fish things that you don't. I mean, sometimes we take a picture to weigh in, and that's where it'll show up. But a lot of times you pull out your phone, you didn't even think about it when you were doing it years ago, but you were posting it to social media and stuff. So you pull out a phone, take a picture of a fish, and throw it back. Now you can go back in with Backtrack and use that technology to pull all those places in. And I have a terrible memory myself. I mean, it's really bad. And that's really good for bad stuff. Like, it goes away pretty quick. But the good stuff and really, you were talking about something there too, like the bad days and all. It's important to know what happened then, to where
Days.
yeah. I mean, that's where you learn a lot,
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Your worst tournaments are usually your better tournament, or I shouldn't say better, but I'm saying as far as learning goes,
Right.
you learn the most in your worst tournaments. You got to go through them.
No doubt about it. So we've been talking about it a good bit here, and I'm going to pull up an image on the screen at least. Go ahead and show everybody what we're talking about. But this is the technology is pretty tricky. You did a good job while ago. You kept talking right on through it. I couldn't even figure out how to get my screen back up here, but we figured it out in the long run. So this is the virtual rod we're talking about here at Anglr. This is pretty neat rod. To talk about what rod is this most similar to that's already in the Abu Garcia lineup?
I want to say it's it's really close to a Veritas or a Vendetta. Maybe even some models. I didn't have all of them. That was the one thing that we were both equipped with. A few rods. I think I had 3. Thomas may have even had less. But yeah, Vendetta or Veritas, I would say. Maybe even I would hate to say that, Veracity, but yeah, it's super, super good rod. And that was one thing that I was talking about, is even for having 3 rods, I brought other reels with me in case I wanted to switch out. And I'm thinking, years ago, that's when I started fishing. That's what I didn't want to go buy 8 rods.
Yeah.
I started off with 3 rods. That's what I had. And I would sit there and I'd change out, and I'd make, that one rod a 7-foot medium heavy, which is what I was throwing a jerk bait on. I could flip a jig on that same rod too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You could have a couple spare reels, and you could go hit the banks with 2 rods and be more than prepared, or 1 rod, and that's what's so cool about it, to still be able to utilize the Anglr button on it and built into the rod. So you're not, you don't have to have 8 setups. You don't have to have, it was a little challenging though, because I wanted to keep digging out more rods.
Oh yeah.
But
that's how we've all
to it.
Yeah, we've all got to that point now where we want to have 7-foot medium heavies with 15-pound fluorocarbon and 7 different baits tied on. But that's the thing about it, is you can use a 7-foot medium heavy with 15-pound fluorocarbon for a lot of stuff.
Oh.
So you don't want to sit down and retie a lot of times, but it's no big deal. I mean, you got the virtual rod here. You can see on the butt of it, it's got the bullseye technology that we have with Anglr built into the rod. So that's a $30. I think the bullseyes are $30 MSRP. And you're looking at a $100 rod there with the bullseye built into $130. So it's a pretty neat deal. And you can, if you want to get multiple rods, they've got several different sizes, actions, and all. You can link several rods to the app at the same time. So when you pick up a rod and hit the bullseye or the butt of the rod on that one, then set it down and pick up another one, you do the same thing, keep on rolling. So pretty neat deal with Anglr and the virtual rods. And all that information is stored inside the app in a digital logbook, which is pretty neat. So
and you can make it just private too. It's right off the bat, it's private. So you can go in and set it up to make it, where everybody can see it. But right off the bat, that was one thing I had a concern with. It was like, how accurate is this going out to everyone every time I hit this?
Yeah. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't, a lot of apps and all do not do, is start off with it private. And that's kind of a big worry, with us. And one of the things we saw with a lot of the comments and complaints and questions were, we don't want everybody to see our stuff. And you can set it up to share, completely public if you want to, or you can set it up to share with just a couple of buddies or whatever. But like you said, it starts off with just me and you, or just me or you know, our own thing. So this is the Anglr app for those of y'all who haven't seen it yet. This is basically the home pond up there for you. It's a pretty good shot of a giant lake. But yeah, you can move around. You can add gear in the app. You can go into the feed and explore. You got a lot of content in the app. You got challenges. We'll talk about that. Well, we can go ahead and talk about it, I guess. We've got the challenge with Hunter Shryock. This it's going to be about a 10-day challenge, and we're going to talk about that a little while.
That start today?
It'll start today and run for 10 days.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a good deal, you know. Yeah, you need to. Oh, my app jumped out. I jumped out of my app on there. But anyway, all right. So we'll do some Q&A. We got a lot of Q&A to do. So let's see what we got. We got some questions over here. Let's see. Everybody comment away. Everybody share. You know, get it out there. Get the word out. We're doing this deal. Yeah. We got Hunter Shryock's video is in the top of the feed too. We got a caller on the line. We're trying to start this deal here. We're going to have some callers call into the show and ask questions face to face with the guests. We tried that last week. It went pretty much like the debacle it should have. We had all kinds of technical issues, but I think we're going to be all right tonight. We got Savi coming in. So let's see if we can get Savi on the screen here. Going to talk a little bit about the Lowrance Graphs and how you use them. What's going on, Savi?
How you doing?
What's up, man?
How's it going?
Doing pretty good. And you got a question for Hunter?
Yeah, it's really probably a two-parter. So, you know, being up in Ohio where you're at, we try to spend as much time as we can on the big pond when it allows for it. Preferably in the summertime when we don't have that northeast wind you're talking about. One thing I wanted to know, the two-part, first part is when you're fishing in the summertime, what are you looking for to find those big smallies? And then how do you use your graphs to help locate them?
Yeah. So first, you know, summer smallmouth, they're going to be moving out deeper, you know, and you can target them as, I wouldn't say as deep as you want. Usually we're talking pretty much the Western Basin, right? You know, because we're both from Ohio, so we're fishing the west side around the islands and everything. And them fish, I mean, they'll move out 18, 22, even out to 25 foot. But it's all the basic standard places, your points, your deep flats, those flats that are out there in 18 to 22 foot, and along the breaks. And a quick little thing that I've done, well, me and my brother both done over the years, is running on pad. And we're not running fast. We're maybe going 25 mile an hour, maybe. And you're kind of going over just some of those places, because you know how it's so big and massive, you're not going to be able to idle it all in one day. Like, it's going to take you forever to be able to go and see everything. And the thing about those smallies is you can side scan stuff. And even with my Lowrance electronics, the way the rocks are, them smallmouth will get right down in them. So they don't leave a good shadow. You know, they'll hide from you, basically. They're not leaving a good shadow to really good. Okay, there's a school of them over there. Now, if there's, you know, 25 of them, absolutely. But usually they're tucked down in the rocks where you almost have to go right over them and see them on your down imaging or on your sonar. And there's times when you'll see them up off the bottom. But when you're running 20, 25 miles an hour and you got your sonar on your Lowrance unit, you can actually be sitting there going over the bottom, or it's like a do nothing bottom. And then all of a sudden it starts like rock, basically. And then all of a sudden you see one dot. I'm talking like one little return. Turn back around and go idle, you know, mark it, go back and idle that one return. And usually you'll see the same dang fish still sitting there, or you'll see two of his buddies with him, and have you a drop shot ready with a flatworm, throw it out behind the boat as soon as you go over it. And you mark that fish, throw it out behind the boat. 9 times out of 10, if it's a smallmouth, it's going to eat it. And so then usually there's more with it. But that's one way to locate them quickly. You know, and then obviously just spend the time behind your graphs. Like, besides that, you're going to go find like rock piles or some type of irregularity. A lot of times you're getting where it's like sand to rock is a big deal. Like, even in the summertime, that sand to rock transition is a big deal. And obviously bait. like bait is a big deal anywhere in the country, but obviously on Lake Erie, the smallmouth will move around with the bait. And as big of a lake as what Lake Erie is, it constantly has current flowing through it. So it's not like, it's not like a river, but in a way it kind of is. So that bait will get pushed, from one side to the other. Some places are good on this type of wind. Other places are good on a south wind. See what I'm saying? So it all sets up to like current base. So I kind of took a long way around your two questions there, but hopefully that answered some of them.
Yeah, that's helpful. I mean, we always look for that irregularities in Lake Erie, but there's not a lot of them. It's not very obvious. You got to find the subtle ones.
You're right. Yep. And it can all matter on the size of the rock. Some days, like literally it's the most gnarliest, jagged rock you can find with big cuts in it and stuff. And then other days it'll literally just be pebbles. And I've been there so many times that they're on it one day and then they're off of it. Like the same spot never, always keeps producing. Like they move a lot. Those things roam around. Now they may be there for that week, or the 2 weeks, but then after that they're gone again. So it's just a constant battle. But them high percentage areas, those flats, if you can find a point off of them or something like that, those are going to be high percentage that they're going to continually come back there over and over again.
And if I can ask one more, then that kind of brought up something else. When do you decide between your leader length or then also fishing on the bottom with like dragging a tube versus drop shotting? Is that actually where you're seeing the fish position in the water column, or because you don't always you don't graph every fish that's in that rock pile?
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes, I'm going to, obviously if I'm fishing for smallmouth, I'm going to have it all rigged up and I'm going to feed them everything, whether that's a drop shot, tube, a Ned rig, whatever that is. I'll try to feed them, and see what they're on that day, because I've seen it where they're on a tube strictly in the fall time, or when they're just on a drop shot, like in the summertime, and you can really graph them and stuff. And video game them the whole time and you catch them on a drop shot. Then they get conditioned to it in the same school and you pitch out a Ned rig or something and they'll eat it. So really just rotate through it. It's really about 3 or 4 baits up there is always producing, and you keep the same ones on the deck at all times and kind of just rotate until they tell you what they want.
Right.
Well, there you go, Sabi. I appreciate you stopping by. I enjoyed listening to that. I do not know what I would do if you put me out there on that pond and say, go catch one. I would probably end up marooned on. Is there an island out there anywhere? Because I'm sure I would find the only little island and nobody would ever find me.
There's a few of them.
Yeah, that's what I would be doing. So appreciate it, Sabi. We'll check you later, bud.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I like that. I like that little deal. One of the big things we're missing right now with tournament fishing shut down is that interaction between fans and anglers. Even when we get started back up, you're not going to have a lot of that probably. So it's cool to let everybody get some FaceTime in that way. And we got another guy we're going to talk to you a little bit. We got Derek Horner, the all-around, do-it-all, everything at Anglr.
That's not true.
That's slightly true.
That's not true at all.
That's pretty true.
Do it all.
No. So first of all, my question is, being from, the Northeast area. Oh, hold on. I muted myself.
No, you're good. You're going.
Okay. Being from the Northeast area, traveling down south and throughout the rest of the country, how does the Northeast, fishing all those different bodies of water kind of play into how you approached other bodies of water around the country?
I always get the saying that, oh, you're from Ohio, you're really good at tough fishing. And that's true to an extent. I think you're from Pennsylvania, right?
Correct.
So you have good places and not so good places to fish, kind of like the rest of us. And the biggest thing I think that I've learned, obviously I can grind, like we all know how to grind it out and just go for 5 bites, and we're okay with having 3 fish in a live well at 1:30 in the afternoon. But the other side of it too is like, when you get down to those southern fisheries, there's a lot more fish there. Like you're getting more bites, and what you would think in your mind as being good up here isn't always that good there. So if you go out and get 12 bites, you're like, I'm good. I'm doing, I'm having a good practice. And then someone else, they're used to getting 30, or they are getting 30 bites a day, or you get what I'm saying. So to I would say the biggest strength, I guess, coming from Ohio and going south is just knowing, or fishing your strengths, going to places that you don't have a lot of knowledge about. And we beat the banks here in Ohio because there's not too much offshore fishing unless you're in Lake Erie, and I go across the rest of the country still beating the banks, and it doesn't always work out, but there's always fish that's going to live shallow. John Cox proves that to us about every event. So it's not rocket science. At the end of the day, we're trying to fool these little pea-sized brain fish, and we can't give them too much credit, but they do stump me quite a bit. But yeah, beating the bank and making it work, that's something that I want to continue to try to build on, and definitely got that from fishing up here in the Northeast.
I hear you. So one final thing. So we set up your challenge. It's live in the app, like Shaye said. Now, how hard is it to catch, 20 fish in 10 days?
Is that what the challenge is?
The challenge. Yeah.
Now, is there a size limit?
No size limit. You just got to catch 20 fish.
You can do that with a cast net.
I can enter it then, right?
Oh, you can enter it.
Okay. Can you win it, or is it just like a challenge?
So when you complete the challenge, you get a challenge completed badge. You can see that in the app too, but it says the Hunter Shryock Virtual Tournament Challenge, and it's a badge you'll get in your Anglr profile.
Heck yeah, I'm doing it.
Do it.
I can do it. Hey, it's finally getting warm up here now, so you know what that means. They are spawning, or they're about to be spawning, so that's cool.
There's what the badge looks like, so that'll pop up in your profile if you pull it off.
That's awesome. I want to see some more people get it too.
For sure, yeah.
10 days, that's not bad.
No, it shouldn't be.
Day.
Now, what I'd like to do, Hunter, is challenge you. See how quickly you can do it, and I want to challenge all the viewers to try to do it quicker than Hunter can.
Oh, shoot.
That's all.
I would have been really good yesterday. We'd have done really well. But they were about this big, though. Hold on.
There you go. Hey, it's hard. It's always back.
It is tough to center yourself.
A lot of 8 to 10 inch bass, but does it matter what species?
I fished in your home state there one time. You're talking about it being tough. I mean, at times I fished the Ohio River. Actually, I was in Paducah, Kentucky, but it originates, I guess, somewhere up there around y'all's mess. And
that's right.
Whatever runs downhill in that thing is terrible. That fishery was brutal, man. It was my dad.
There, didn't you?
My dad had qualified for a federation deal. It was like a regional deal. So I think he either won the state championship that year, or he finished in the state team or whatever. But he went up there and fished that deal, and I went up there with him in practice. I was like 12 or 13. I had a shirt that says "Getting Lucky in Kentucky." I still got it. It does not fit, but that was the best part of the trip by far. Other than it was flooded, so you couldn't get in anything, or you could get in places, or there'd be like woods with fish busting 400 yards back in them every now and then or something like that. But we found one bridge that you could sneak under. We laid down, a Spider-Man crawled under it, got back behind it. There was a mayfly hatch going on, and Dad came back in the tournament, caught like every fish he had right there. And some guys ran up to the dam and caught smallmouth in like 60 feet of water, like the team from Kentucky did. It was nasty, but
A-rig.
Yeah. Well, it was actually pre-A-rig. It was like I said, I was probably 12 or 15, maybe 17. I don't know. Like I said, I got a terrible memory, but I was younger, much younger, somewhat better looking. And because it's hard to beat what you got right now. But anyway.
Well, hey, Hunter, appreciate you answering my question. Shaye, I got to go back to producing. Get me out of here.
Yeah, produce some stuff. Noodles.
Thanks, man.
All right. Yeah. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to go there. Actually, I was looking at the rivers around home, and they look cleaned up.
Yeah.
It's a good place in the springtime, to be honest with you. 15, 18 pounds will win a derby.
It would have probably been pretty good then if there weren't full-blown oak trees floating down the river.
Yeah.
It was flooded nasty. I don't even remember what time of the year it was. I do remember, though, we would like go out and turn and there'd just be like this massive root ball on the end of oak tree.
Mayflies, it should have been June or July, probably.
Yeah. That's what we do down here, and it worked out good up there. But I mean, other than that, he had nothing going on. He went right under that bridge and caught what he caught, and did pretty well. I think he finished like first or second for the state, but
Right.
and Alabama finished second, but like Kentucky blew it out doing that. Everybody was doing that smallmouth deal. So anyway, cool stuff. Good stories, good times. I want to talk to you about something, Hunter, that we kind of paralleled in our paths into this industry. Like videos played a really big deal for you, and I kicked around with a couple of GoPros, but you really kind of elevated it. Guys like you and Polinick and a few others really took it from that to a whole nother level, and continue. Just like with this virtual tournament, doing a live stream virtual tournament, I mean, that's elevating it to another level again, but it's still using video. So talk to that a little bit. How did video play into your career getting started?
It was just, I want to say just the perfect timing of things. I was really getting into fishing. I was fishing the opens. I was wanting to excel at the opens, but I had no idea what fishing was going to offer to me, right? Like I'm trying to qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series, but I also really, really liked filming and editing. Never have really done it prior to that. Took a class in high school that was like literally, messing around with VHS tapes.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And so it was one of those deals. It was a point in my life when I had the time to do it and still be able to fish and film myself. And then, one thing led to another. I got with Pure Fishing, Abu Garcia, Berkeley. I started doing little videos for them, and next thing you know, I've produced commercials, got our own YouTube series and stuff like that. But it was like a perfect time because that's the industry needed content,
Right.
and me both did it. GoPros was like, that was such a cool deal. Not that it isn't now, but like at the time there's so many things that hadn't been done
Right.
for the outdoor industry in general. So it was really just a perfect timing deal.
Yeah, there's always something there. There's always an opportunity. And like the fishing industry, a lot of times is kind of a step or two behind a lot of other industries like tech or something like that. So if you kind of keep an eye on different things and watch, there'll be an opportunity rising. A lot of kids, high school anglers and all, they'll ask, what do I need to do to be a professional? Like I need to get sponsored. I need to do this. Their focus is so scattered and not, they're looking at the same thing that 99% of the high school anglers are looking at and worried about. Versus if you really want to know how to make it a career in this, you got to add value for companies. You've got to develop your fishing skills. Don't just go out there and get somebody's boat and they put you on fish. You need to go out and try to learn and I mean, go fish with people. That's fine. But you need to actually be thinking and processing a lot of this stuff yourself. Because the first time you get out there in the boat, you don't think about why y'all caught them that day in the back of that creek. You just go to the back of that creek and that creek's flooded and muddy and everything. And the day to day, you should be fishing out on the main lake. So to me, I think that's the biggest thing that these younger anglers, if you want to know how to make it in the industry, you got to find, like you said, I kind of stumbled into it. I knew how to run a GoPro, fell in with Bass, said I can run some GoPros for y'all and double your coverage on the final day where you don't miss, somebody in the top 12 winning. We ended up getting Randy Howell like the next year or so, winning the Classic that way.
Right.
Before that, even with FLW, I was kind of working with them, and I was just a kid who knew what Facebook was, and they knew somebody needed to be managing or have a social media presence there. And I started running Facebook and then Twitter and YouTube for them and stuff. And I remember back then, just to show kind of how things evolve and get saturated, like you said, back then they wanted me to sit down with the anglers and talk to them about, setting up Facebook pages and all. And I mean, 75% of them, I ain't getting no dang Facebook page. I ain't doing that silly stuff. My cousin's 13 years old. She's got a Facebook page. Ain't got nothing to do with me. And then now everybody, local hammer, whatever, has got a Facebook page, So all that stuff gets saturated. But if you can be on the leading edge of it, like you were, like I was in a couple of situations, it really accelerates your career and gives you opportunities to work with these people. So obviously podcasts are a big deal now, but they're getting saturated too. I mean, we kind of dove into it because the timing was perfect for it. But you see a lot of anglers now that they wouldn't even have Facebook pages before. Now they're streaming live content. So
Right.
there's always the next step. What do you have any idea? I mean, you wouldn't let the cat out of the bag, I wouldn't imagine anyway, if you got your eye on something, but do you have any idea what the next step is?
Man, I'll be honest with you. Just you saying what you did, it was like the way I came about, like even all this fishing stuff is kind of like reverse engineered. Being so heavy on the video side, I was, so focused on creating stuff and doing all that. And now it's almost the opposite. Not that I don't want to create cool content and videos and stuff, but now that I've in the elites and stuff like that, it's like I'm full blown the other direction. Like all I want to do is catch bass. Like how am I going to, what's my next step? And I think everybody starts out that way, which is the right way to do it. You start out and you learn, and then you're Kevin Van Dam, and then you go back and build your other social stuff or whatever. I guess that's kind of a bad analogy, but Kevin's Kevin. But yeah, the way that I've done it was kind of like backwards in a sense. And I'm still, so starving for more knowledge for fishing because there's so much that I don't know. But I don't even know where I was going with that.
I like where you were headed, and I like where you wound up. I mean, I'm good with either one.
I'm standing on an island right now, but
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, it's one of those deals. The future, I mean, again, like what we talked about, there's so much content out there now. It all still boils back down to catching fish.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, if you can go out there and catch big ones and do what you need to do, you can still solve all this other stuff, whether that's you or having someone else to help you, because it's coming to the point that everybody has someone that can, manage and do this type of stuff for them. So don't think you're going into it alone, because there's always someone that, you could pay or whatever to help along the way, but still catching fish is the name of the game.
That's right. Well, one of the companies, got a couple of companies trying to help us get going here. You see Abu Garcia, Berkeley, Lowrance, and Mercury down there. They all work with Hunter Shryock too. Coincidence, we did a show with you. But no, I mean, there's a lot of anglers that work with, and we like to try to pick a guy that kind of lines up with a lot of those because they're helping us get the word out about the show. And one of the moments we like to have a Mercury moment. That's one of the segments we like to have. And we kind of talked a little bit about this beforehand. But go ahead and go through your Mercury moment for us, and maybe it's ongoing, I guess.
Yeah, that's for me. I've ran a Mercury ever since I've started fishing. My first boat had a Mercury on it, and to this day, I'm still running the 250 Mercury 4-stroke. And I don't think I have a specific moment that was like it never fails me, and that's probably the biggest thing. Is I have the confidence and the amount of time that I've used that engine and never had those type of failures, especially in big tournaments. It's the reliability of it to continue on. Sabine River, 100+ degree heat, you're running 50 70 miles one way. I've ran places in St. Clair all the way down to Lake Erie and ran back. There's so many different scenarios, but the bottom line is it's never, the reliability of it's still there. So, there's just so much to be said to be able to get to and from your fishing spot, because when you're fishing, you have all these other variables. And that's one thing that I don't have to worry about. It's going to get me to and from, and usually the fastest one there on a Phoenix boat to get me to and from my spots. So that's a big deal, especially, fishing at the level that we're at. Points and everything else, you have to have a reliable engine.
Yeah, if you have one hiccup throughout the year and
one deal and you're done. Like that could really throw that could be Anglr of the Year points championship. It could be qualifying for the Classic.
Yeah, staying in the elites. I mean, there's all levels that you've got to perform at every. I mean, if you come in with 5 pounds, that's a lot better than 0 points wise. That's huge.
It's not like I'm so grateful for the help that Mercury's given me, but I would still go. I buy my engine still. You know what I mean? Like I buy it. So that's a lot coming out of my pocket, but I want that engine on my boat. So and they help. They got the service trailer, everything that you would ever need. But that's there's other brands that I don't know if I could say the same for that I would to pay out of pocket.
Well, we're going to do a little Q&A here. We got some questions rolling in. We want to have you guys, anybody wants to send in a question, it's very simple. You just post your question, and Derek Horner over there, our producer from Anglr, will grab a hold of it, throw it to me, and then I will put it up on the screen. So we got Zach Douglas, or AKA Dougie. Dougie, what, in case you can't see the whole question there, what are some things you struggle with switching from professional motocross to professional fisherman, and what strengths do you feel like you've gained from your motocross career? For those that don't know, Hunter Shryock and his brother Fletcher can ride is it a tricycle? No, it's a motorcycle.
Yep, motorcycle.
Yeah,
dirt scooter.
So talk to us about that a little bit.
I would just say the biggest things coming from racing to fishing is the confidence of where we started at with motocross, and where we ended up in our careers with that. The road traveling to it, it's a lot like fishing in a way, because we travel all over the country, live this gypsy type lifestyle where you're in and out of hotels or whatnot at the beginning. Before I started staying in a camper, but still, it's just a lot of travel, stuff like that. So I was already really prepared in that aspect to kind of live on the road. And then also just knowing that, hard work pays off, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's every day's a new day. So it was the same way with racing. The biggest thing I think from racing to fishing is that you can be absolutely the man one day, and the next day, just, you don't catch them. And, the difference is the track is a track, and it is there. And our track in fishing is literally swimming and breathing and running away from us. So that's the difference.
You really sit down and think about the variables that go into fishing and catching fish and everything. You really start to wonder how insane you are to even try to do this. I mean, it's like, why even go out there? But that's the pursuit. That's what makes it so exciting. It is such a challenge.
Well, that's what makes you respect guys like Rick Clunn.
Yeah.
That have, over the years, continued to, David Fritz, all them guys that have done it for so long, and they, continue to up their game to what we have now. It's pretty unbelievable, really.
Yeah. The physical stuff. Dude, I'm 33. I wake up some mornings like, man, I don't think I want to do this today. And I just sore all over, and Rick Clunn pops up. I assume he pops up out of bed.
72 or 73 years old.
70. Yeah, he's up there. He's up there, and he can whoop my butt on the water any second. But just like being able to just hop up and go fishing, which I mean, like it may roll out pretty slow too, but he gets out there, he's still winning, dude. Like he's recently
last year at St. John's River, he won it.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
But 70 years old.
That's one of the other things that's so awesome about fishing is it's such a level playing field it's not, and it is at the same time, but it puts strength against strength. His knowledge that he has against a youngster's stamina, and then all of a sudden, like, there's two totally different things, but you're there, you know what I mean? And you can beat each other on any given day. So that's a great question. Looks like Ricky Baker. This is the good thing about having family that fishes and watches the show. Ricky Baker, my dad here, wants to make sure that y'all know that he was the state champ and not just on the state team. The trick there, Pops, what got me was you were on just the state team one year, and then you won the state championship. So I apologize for not getting that correct. And he's actually a two-time state champion. He won in 88 and then again in 2002 or 3 whenever we went. So if I didn't mention that, that would be the next comment coming through. So two-time state champ, congratulations. Moving on.
You're not going to get any Christmas gift.
Yeah, I was done. I mean, he basically just focuses on the nieces, his granddaughters now anyway. So, but no, that's good. I still get, fishing lure every now and then. So we got another question here from Ken Panetta. Want to know, it looks like he's trying to get a little help for the Hunter Shryock challenge inside the Anglr app. Wants to know if you only had 3 Berkeley baits on deck, hard baits and soft baits, what would they be, and how would you fish them to win the 11-day Hunter challenge?
Oh gosh, well that's like perfect timing, because we've just been, I've been fishing a lot here at home, and one of the baits, and I posted about it, is this little Berkeley square bull, which you can't really tell, but it's pretty trashed. And this is the 5.5. So this bait is going to be retired for just tournaments only, because I really caught the fire out of them. When the wind's blowing, you can throw this thing shallow, rock, wood, whatever. deflected off of something. I'm sorry, I'm kind of moving back and forth here, but I do like that color a lot. It's the big money color. Again, that's the Berkeley square bowl, not square bill, square bowl. Next is something that I haven't really talked a lot about, but this is the Berkeley Maxent Critter Hog. And everyone hears me talk about the Creature Hog, but this is the Critter Hog. And that bait right there, the fish are pulling up, trying to spawn, and I can't keep them off of it. This is an awesome bait. I've literally started using it here in Ohio like this past week, and I'm running low on them because I didn't have very many of them. I had green pumpkin and watermelon red, two very, very good colors. Texas rigged with a 1/4 ounce weight, 4/0 Berkeley Fusion flipping hook. Catches a lot of fish. You're not just going to catch, all little ones. You're going to catch them all. It really does seem like that. And then next would be the Berkeley Maxent Creature Hog, which everybody probably sees me post about it. But again, it's the deal. And I really believe in that Maxent, especially around the parts of Ohio. If you weren't tuned in earlier, we were talking about how stingy these places can be. And the Maxent really, really seems to get a lot more bites over traditional baits. Even some of my power bait, just normal power bait, my Pit Boss and stuff like that, I still get more bites on Maxent. It's just, I don't know why. They just eat it a lot better, and it's got to do something. It has to be something to do with the smell of it. It's funny. I talked with a gentleman today at the lake, and he showed me his whole entire box of Flambeau Maxent Creature Hog. Said he was getting ready for a tournament, a little jackpot tournament. So I don't know. Must be something to it. But those would be my 3 baits that I would be throwing to try to win or get your challenge badge on the Anglr app.
That's it's something we want to do. I've never used a lot of scent myself, but obviously it makes a difference, especially if you think about, like I said, those tough fishing situations or like bed fishing or something like that. It's got to matter. I mean, you've seen scent used in the industry for years and years and years.
We know it makes, I personally know how big of a difference it makes with smallmouth. That was the big thing with me and Maxent. When it first came out, I really gravitated towards it because of the gulp, and that was a big deal. When you went smallmouth fishing, you had to have gulp, and every angler on the tour or whatever, when you went to a smallmouth fishery, all had gulp. Well, now, not that gulp doesn't catch them, but now that Maxent for gulp, or that Maxent for smallmouth, is like, it's almost the same way, but it's that way for largemouth too. And nobody ever really used Berkeley gulp for largemouth. I never really used it. Not saying that you couldn't, but you used it pretty much for just smallmouth, or you went red fishing with it, right?
Yeah.
But Maxent, it seems, is like the gulp for largemouth. I know that's confusing. I'm probably really confusing everybody, but it's just it's a fish attractor. I don't know what else to say about it. You pick the material up, and it's like a really porous material. But I've seen it too many times where I'd be flipping a Pit Boss, which is just original power bait, and I'll switch over to the Creature Hog, and I start getting bit. So, hey, I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to keep catching them. You know what I mean?
Don't fight results. If it's not working, ask questions. But when it's working, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't care what it looks like, what it smells. It smells like not good, right? But they must love it because they eat a lot of it. So
that's awesome. Have we got another question here? Another question relative to the dirt bike deal. So, standing in a boat all day, especially when it's wavy, and riding a dirt bike, any similarities, or do you feel the same fatigue?
I tell you what, I would not be in enough shape to ride a dirt bike anymore. but I can stand on a boat. Probably the biggest one is when we go to the big lakes like Lake Erie or St. Clair, and you're out there in the waves and stuff like that. That does start to wear on you because your legs, your hips, everything. I'd say the biggest thing for me now is trying to keep my knees under me, because after all the years of racing, reconstructive knee surgery and all that good stuff. So that's one thing that I pay attention to. And I got to tell you, this is a big deal that I see a lot of guys. I've dealt with it myself. Is when you sit in your boat. Okay, we're going to hang on here. We're scooting back. When you sit in your boat, and let's say your tackle compartment is right here, right? How do you sit? You turn like this, and you put your knee here, and you get into your box. Well, your knee sitting there like that is the worst possible way to have your knee setting, because it's putting that MCL, ACL on a bind. Okay, I'm going straight doctor on you guys, but that's
yes, I need to know this.
So my doctor grabbed my knee, and this was a couple of years ago. He grabbed my knee and he moved it, and it moves to this day. He goes, well, I don't think you have a MCL left, or it's completely stretched to it where it's not holding your knee. And I promise you, it's from sitting in a boat where your leg is like this, because how long do you sit like that, Shaye?
Oh, yeah.
For hours.
Yeah.
For hours. So that's a quick little note to keep your knees good. Don't sit in your boat like that. Turn around, get your stuff out, set it back in your lap.
Nice. I was going to ask what the proper way to sit is, because I really don't want to stand all the time. I'll be honest with you. I'm not athletic enough to stand all day, much less do anything.
You got a seat in your boat?
Oh yeah, not in the front, but
yeah,
I got the back.
Hey, I'm not too proud not to have a seat in my boat.
Yeah.
If it gets too rough or whatever, I got the seat in my boat, guaranteed.
Yeah, I heard that. Well, let's see if we got any more. If anybody wants to get a last minute question in with Hunter Shryock, guest of episode 6 of Wishing I Was Fishing, you better get it over there. Get it to us. We're winding down. And while we're winding down, there's one thing that you always got to do before you put the boat in the water, right? You've got to put the plug in. And that's how we like to end the show. We like to let our guests put the plug in, plug away, plug whoever you're thankful for, whatever you're thankful for, and just go ahead and spill, man.
Man, me to plug whatever. Gosh, I don't know. I think we're all dealing with some, obviously the stuff that we're dealing with. It's no fun, and keep our heads down. We got Fishin is scheduled to be coming back, Bassmaster Elite Series, June 10th, I believe, Lake Eufaula. Excited about that. It's been crazy times, but you guys know we'll get through it, and yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to get back after it. It's going to be a whole different schedule towards the end of the year. We're going to have fall fishing, and I think you're going to see a lot of new anglers, or anglers you really haven't heard a lot about. They're going to really prevail with the different schedule and stuff. I really did miss, not having those spawning tournaments and stuff like that, but it's going to be cool, because the types of places that we're going to, there's not like a ton of history going to it in the fall. So I'm excited about that. Obviously got to thank my sponsors, Abu Garcia, Berkeley, Spider Wire, Mercury, Power Pole, Bob's Machine Shop, Gator Guards, Lowrance. I think I got them all. Maybe. Fast boat.
There you go. That was it. I was watching for you. I was watching.
Okay. We got it.
All right. So that's good, man. We like to let guys. That's a little ode to Scott Butcher. He's one of the guys that kind of helped me get going on a little web TV show deal here. So we got a couple more questions that came in.
Okay.
We're gonna slowly wind down with a little more Q&A. We got Nick Cecilio. He wants to know a couple things. Pretty easy. This is a soft pitch. After the last one, I put you on the spot with to put the plug in. This one is very simple. What's your favorite bait to catch bass?
Favorite bait to catch a bass? I would probably say my favorite way is flipping and pitching heavy cover, like grass, matted grass, Florida type stuff. Now, that being said, it's still going to be a creature hog. Berkeley matted creature hog. You like punching mats, Shaye?
I do. I enjoy digging out those big ones. That is my favorite thing to do.
There's still the aura above your head right now.
Yeah.
It's directly above your head.
Four of those came out from under a mat. The big one, honestly, it came on a big jig flipping around reeds. That's another big deal down in Florida that time of year. But I did not. I put the big fish catch in the video, but I kind of like up into the corner there where you couldn't see the little reed stems. And I didn't actually tell anybody that for about 4 years, because I was still trying to fish, trying to decide if I was going to fish or not. I was like, everybody knows. I mean, a lot of people know to flip reeds too, but honestly, I caught that in like a group of pencil reeds that were just tiny. And in practice, 2 days before, I had flipped up like maybe 7 feet from it to another little clump of reeds and caught a 7-pounder. So I flipped up there, that morning. I'm like, all right, she's gonna be there, on bed, probably still there. Nothing. I was like, oh crap. So I just kind of boop, and then I reeling my line up, and it's swimming off, and I caught that 9-something. And I was like, that's fantastic. I really enjoyed that. I'd like to do that again, but it didn't happen. But anyway, that's a great question. Wants to know also, what's your favorite frog to fish?
Favorite frog? I use the Spro. I use the Booyah, and but I do believe that Berkeley is coming out with a new one. So new hollow belly.
Ooh.
Maybe. I don't know. I may have given too many details out. Not that I gave too much out.
Yeah,
Build on something.
but
yeah, those Spro, the normal, was it the 65 or something?
Yeah.
And the Pag Crasher. I like throwing either of them. Doesn't really matter to me. I do like the Booyah because it's a little softer. Get some hooks in them.
I like it.
I like it.
What's your favorite bait caster rod and reel to use? I guess for this, maybe do like your best all around go-to combo, maybe.
Oh, well, the one that's always on the deck of my boat, no matter where I go, is a 7.6 medium heavy Veracity flipping stick.
Nice. I love it. That's it's important. How excited are you when you're on like Beaver Lake and you're miserable? Let's be honest. You don't want to be. And you're running around and you pull up in a pocket and there's like a little trash mat, like pine straw matted up, and you're like, oh yeah, you're about to get punt.
Or just to go get bid on like a laydown or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just something to do with me and kicking up mud.
Yeah.
But if it's like starts to become like Smith Lake or Lake Lanier and stuff like that, no,
I'm not even going. That's the good thing about not being a professional fisherman. I don't have to go to those places anymore. And I mean, let's be honest, those are good lakes. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Fantastic lakes, yeah.
But I don't like them. I don't like fishing that way. I don't want to do that. I want to power fish. I want to just go hard, go home. And a lot of times I end up going home. But it's fun while it lasts. So anyway,
That's right.
Well, we appreciate the questions. Had a good Q&A. So we had a good time here with Hunter Shryock tonight, the Bassmaster Elite Series Pro. I am excited to see the fall, see what goes on. And honestly, I don't think you missed a lot this spring. It's been a miserable, jacked up spring.
Yeah, you're right. It probably would have thrown, I mean, even to start the year off with the way it was at St. John's and the conditions that we had there. And then, like you said, I feel like we're 2 or 3 weeks behind up here in Ohio. And I kind of think the rest of the country is too.
It's so bizarre. Like down here in Alabama, it's maybe 2 months ago now, month and a half at least, probably 2 months ago, we had like 7 85-degree days in a row. And fish just jumped up on bed that were shallow already.
Right.
Now, the deeper ones probably didn't move, but like you had this, and it wasn't a giant wave, but it was just whatever was up shallow jumped on bed and then jumped off. And then we had like a month of kind of jacked up cold and hot, and maybe a couple more spawn here and there on the moon. It was kind of weird. And then yesterday, so it's been 2 months since, and it's usually pretty quick here. I mean, it happens, we go straight from winter to summer. Typically.
Right.
And 2 days ago, I was working, or yesterday, actually, I was working up at my boss's lake house, and I'm running a hedge trimmer and really not that excited about life. It's about 95 degrees. And I look down there at this pole in the corner of his dock, and there's a bass garden fry. And I'm like, how are we still in the middle of this? This is so confusing. You're catching fish already out in 20 foot of water postpone. And and then I look over there, and a little while later, and there's a shade from an overhanging tree limb, and there's another bass garden fry. And I thought, this is obviously where I should have been Tuesday night in the Tuesday nighter, and I was not. So I messed up. But
hey, you have been there. You had no idea.
Yeah, you have no idea what to do right now. Wow. So anyway, we appreciate it, Hunter. Enjoyed it. Had a good time hanging out with you and catching up. Good to see you. And
it's good to see you guys too. I appreciate it.
Road, man. Good luck out there.
All right. See you guys. Thanks, everyone.
All right. That is it for Wishing I Was Fishing episode 6 with Hunter Shryock. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate everybody tuning in, doing a little Q&A. Appreciate the call in from Sabi. Appreciate Derek hopping on. We had a good time. I've enjoyed it. Maybe we'll have some more episodes. There's really no way of knowing, but we'll probably have some more episodes. So, see you guys later. Toodaloo.